Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision on a daily basis. Well, today, Wednesday, is May 19th, is setting up to be quite a painful day. The futures are down big, and Bitcoin is literally crashing. So today's topic is obviously going to be the great Bitcoin crash of 2021 and time to buy or time to bail. I've already received several folks reaching out this morning ready to buy more, and I love their optimistic attitude. But I want to peel that back a little bit while we talk about things today on what Bitcoin really is, and when we entered, should we exit now or should we buy more? I will say that everything chart-wise and through normal investing acumen would say it's time to scoop it up and buy more. I will tell you why I have some hesitancy for doing that. So that's what we're going to talk about this morning. For a question today, we're also going to talk about what is a SEP IRA. Many of you just got done with taxes. So as a refresher going forward, there are some ways to save yourself some money, and SEP IRA is a fantastic way of doing that. Also have some longs and shorts in there. Long MindMed, there's a storyline that goes with that. And today being a big red day already in the futures, VXX is going to be your friend. If you're looking to go short, basically Coin, MicroStrategy, and Riot Blockchain are all selling off hard because of Bitcoin. If you think that continues into the open, which I think it does, those would be good shorts for you. Also, VipShop missed earnings. So that's what I've got for the show today. If you are catching us on replay, make sure you click notification as well as subscribe. And if you want to join us in the room, $25 a month, you can follow along our strategy and ask me as many questions as you want. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone, to today, Wednesday, May 19th. Halfway done through May already. All right, tax day is behind us as well. Unless you're here in Texas, you get all the way to June 15th to deal with taxes if that's how you want to roll. All right, standard disclaimer applies to this financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear in this program. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right, mission objectives: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. So where does Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrencies fit into that space? So here's my take, and here's why I personally am bailing. And for most of the accounts I have, I will be exiting both GBTC and COIN if I haven't already in your accounts. I've de-risked. So one, I've already de-risked a lot of accounts where I took a lot of that stuff out already. If it's still remaining there, I'm really keeping it only for folks that are kind of in need for speculation. So let me talk to that real quick. Why would I be leaving in something I do believe in? I do believe there is room in this world for Bitcoin. I'm not sure any of the others will survive. The Ethereum story and Ripple stories are good. There's probably room for both of those. I don't know. But the rest of it has kind of gone insane, right? So the Dogecoin thing was certainly fun, but folks were going crazy with this stuff. And I don't like gambling analogies, but since I just spent 5 days in Vegas watching endless gambling as we're walking through casinos, slot machines are packed, and I just laugh and go, that's the system separating people from their money for the most part. And I only play poker, and I consider poker a game of skill because the same people win over time. So I don't think my analogy applies to that. But I will say, from a gambler's perspective, even a poker player's perspective, because there's a lot of similarities, is that have you ever met a crypto investor that was down money? I don't think anyone's ever lost, right? Everybody who's been involved with this has made money. It was similar to the Wall Street bets and the GameStop, and it's just like everybody made money, right? Well, that's a lot of that's human behavior, and people just don't own up to losses. They don't. They're just they basically lie about it or don't speak about it, and because nobody wants to own up to their own failings, if you will. That's one reason I love investing for folks is investing's hard. I mean, it is hard. You're not always right. In fact, you're going to be wrong several times. And if you can be right 2/3 of the time, you're already a world-class investor, which means you're wrong 1/3 of the time. So a lot of times you're fielding phone calls from people going, why didn't that work? I'm like, well, it didn't work. So we're getting out of it. So I like being the adult in the room as far as being able to say, no, we're not going to just hold on to this thing forever, because that's what people do when stuff starts losing money. They hold on to it forever. Like, you physically can't sell. It's like, well, give your account to me because I can sell it and cut your losses. You get tax benefits and all that. So when you deal with all the crypto investors of the world, which are all all killing it, they're all millionaires, they're all making money. It's just reminiscent. I know I still can't say that. It reminds me of the poker world. Really, you need literally tens of thousands of players that are terrible to enter into the game for 1,000 players to play professionally, right? So you need an ocean of fish, if you will, for a few whales. Same sort of thing that's going on in the crypto space. It's just math. In any zero-sum game, you're going to have a few that are very skilled at it, and the rest are just going to be losing, 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 and losing. That's how lotteries work. That's how a lot of things work. Well, that's the crypto space. Is there are there positives to it? Yes, for Bitcoin, long-term store of value. I do believe that. I do think eventually it goes over 100,000. That is, I'm just not sold on it short term. And honestly, I'm tired of throwing darts. And you have to, in the crypto space, you have to just basically guess a lot. And why would I spend my time and effort trying to guess right in the crypto space when I spend all my rest of my time and effort trying to make calculated probabilistic allocations of capital in the markets where there's information that I can exploit because I have an advantage, because I have experience, that sort of thing. So that's why I'm leaving it personally. That because I don't have an edge in the crypto space. I don't know that anyone does, but if people do, I will cede that to them and say, you have the edge, I do not, so I'm out. As far as companies and things, I have an edge because most people are throwing darts when it comes to investing anyway. I'm not. I have a very calculated way of picking those investments and specific things I'm looking for outperformance. So I have an edge there, so that's where I'm going to focus my time. Second, so that's one piece of it is there's too much guesswork. The second piece, honestly, is I don't need it. Crypto smacks of a get-rich-quick scheme, if you will. If you're not rich, and that's a definition thing, and I don't really want to get into it, and I'm not bragging. Certainly, everybody comes from a different situation. But if you are on time, on target with your financial goals, you don't need crypto, right? You may want crypto, or you may speculate in crypto. That's fine. If you're already meeting your other financial goals, you can do that. If you are behind, like when I talk to folks that are a little later on in life that have, maybe 100K to their name, it's just like, well, you are behind now. I tend to speculate more in their portfolios because they need to catch up. They need to take the risk because they will never get to their financial goals if they don't. I'm not going to risk it in crypto to get them there, but certainly I will take a much higher risk profile with clients that are behind than ones that are trucking right along or on schedule. So if you have 7-digit portfolio, I'm telling you, you don't need crypto unless you're just having fun with it. But if you're having fun with it, you can do that on your own, right? You don't need me for throwing darts. So you can throw your own darts, right? If you're just guessing anyway, might as well do it on your own. So that's really the second thing. So to kind of summarize that going in, too much guesswork for me and everybody, I think, as well. And I don't need it. Now, you also, when you say things like you don't need it, I am ceding the fact that if the crypto world is right and all of this stuff does replace the dollar and fiat currency and all that stuff, I have to admit that, okay, I will have missed out on that. So, the fear of missing out, which I'm fine with because I'm built that way. But I know a lot of others out there are like, I do not want to sell my Bitcoin position or any of my crypto because what if they're right? Okay, well, that's the fear of missing out, and that's on you, right? So try to keep the numbers small and manageable. It could still all go to zero. I don't think Bitcoin goes to zero, but I think some of the others could easily. And there's new coins coming out every day. So at some point, now movies, when Hollywood gets involved, that's when you really have to be concerned, right? Back in 2000, I think it was Ashton Kutcher started, as a very young actor, started talking about pets.com or whatever it was, pushing individual stocks on talk shows. It's like, crash time. Well, we're having that same thing with Dogecoin and people backing it. And it's just like, okay, generally those folks don't have the level of expertise as professional investors. So that's generally time to exit position. So that's kind of what we're seeing there. Let's see, the Bitcoin thing. Also, one interesting thing that happened, if you're following the pipeline story, the hackers that hijacked the pipeline, they wanted Bitcoin, right? So there's also a huge issue with legitimizing this cryptocurrency by paying it out to criminals. And it'd be interesting. It's just like, okay, we pay you in Bitcoin, we drive the price of Bitcoin to zero, and then you got nothing for your effort, right? But that's one side of it. The other side of it is, if it's already kind of the negativity of it, if it's used for nefarious activities, and then you have a huge nefarious activity, that's obviously going to hit the thing, right? So they didn't want dollars, they wanted Bitcoin. Kind of a huge negative out there for the entire space, in my opinion. So anyhow, summarize, that's why I'm leaving it. You can make your own decisions on your own, but at least that's my 2 cents. All right, the flow is standard. We'll look at the GBTC chart here in a second. Contingencies, academic resources are all standard. Let's take a look over at ThinkPipes real quick at the overall market. So focusing away from Bitcoin for a second into the overall market. Had a down day yesterday after some chop here. Again today, setting up for be a big down day. We'll see, but I think that could, even if we break down below 400 in the SPY, it's not a big deal over the long term. It's a big deal over short term, and it's certainly going to get everybody excited. But over long term, here's a 5-day chart. In taking a look at things, there's a sell-off, and then there's a sell-off going into this morning. So we aren't even down to the same levels we were midweek last week. What is that, last Wednesday? So could we find that today? I could see that happening, but all in all, we're not doing anything crazy in the market. All right, let's go back to the headlines real quick and check those out, and then we'll pull the GBTC chart, if you will. Okay, refresh these for you here. Are almost 2% in the NASDAQ, 1% in both the Dow and the S&P. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of pain today. Europe down a couple percent across the board. Asia markets, Hong Kong's up, everything else is down. Volatility, big pop volatility yesterday. It's going to be another one today. We'll take a look at the VXX. Actually, I'm going to pull that up over Mind Medicine here, VXX, because I think that'll be your play today. All right, bonds, again, with key levels at 1.8%. We don't want to crack that, but they are creeping up a little. Oil's kind of settled down a little bit, so not too worried about that. Gold and silver pretty flat, and then the big issue is Bitcoin. So down to 32,000. So it's tanked 20%, you can see here, in 24 hours, fallen below 37,000. Lowest level since February 3rd. Now it's at 33,000 and falling like a rock. So that's kind of where we are, and I hate to just bail after something drops 20% in a day. I would literally almost never do that with an individual stock, but I feel comfortable exiting here just because I want to be done with it. So, all right, let's go back to the headlines. Of course, here's of course, Bitcoin's going to take the day. It's going to affect Tesla, you bet. I mean, Tesla's been hit anyway. Michael Burry came out yesterday, $500 million short in Tesla. So you have the best shorter in the world going short Tesla. Better than me. Every time I short Tesla, it ends poorly. But it's good to see the stock finally selling off again. It's probably worth about $100 a share. and it got up to what, 800, 900. I couldn't even watch for a while, but certainly having Bitcoin on its books is an issue. And even if it dumps all its Bitcoin today, man, that's an issue. Bitcoin plunge, a liquidation event, capitulation, all those things would normally say buy. They really would. Target was out this number with huge positive numbers. We did the retailers yesterday, and again, things are going well. All right, I want to show you the GBTC chart. Again, you have to go to Yahoo for this. This is a 6-month chart, and this morning already it is at down below 28 GBTC, 29 or so. So it closed at 34 here on this chart and down to 29. So again, levels that we're talking back at the beginning of the year. So pretty hard sell-off in Bitcoin there after a 3% sell-off. Again, what's that? Again, another, I don't know, we'll see when it opens here. In the teens or so as far as the sell-off in GBTC. Okay, let's switch over to the TD Ameritrade and get set up for the open. Again, for the new folks in the room that just popped in, here's what we're looking at. I took M in MindMed, can't say it. It has been selling off. I do like this as a long, and I like it as even a long-term hold, but it got a lot of legitimacy as far as psychedelic use in PTSD and other treatments yesterday. So you see that kind of climbing. Actually, we'll leave that up there. It's getting some positive momentum. There's coin, and then GBTC over at 29. Let's go with VipShop, VIPS. Chinese e-tailer that missed earnings. You can see that there as well. All right, give me a second. We will open up. All right, welcome everyone to the On Time on Target play of the day. You see 4 screens in front of you. All are 1-minute charts, and we'll get to those here in a second. Here is the opening bell. All right, you can see that the SPY is already down 1%. You've got Mind Medicine as our long today, so I'll tell you about that thesis in a second. But there's coin short and VipShop short, both of which may just fall like a rock. If they continue to fall like a rock, then we can't really take them because they're moving too fast. But $200 range here on coin. So that's going to be a $2 to $3 stop, and I would like to see this back up, honestly, above 216 before we could turn around and take it short. You see VipShop just selling off hard after they beat revenue, but they missed earnings and guidance and guided down. So pretty negative story there for VipShop. They're already kind of out of our range of that minus 10%. Coin, yeah, don't really care for that here. And then the market selling off here. So Mind Medicine, let's focus on this long. Let's see, low of the day pre-market down here at 335. Normally you would have a 3 to 4 cent stop. I could see using a 5 cent stop here. This is pretty high risk, but I do like the story, and then we're starting to see some green creep into the market. So let's use a 6 cent stop here, using 344 as the bottom. So let's take it right here at 350. This is MindMed long. We're going to use 344 as the lower stop. It's so much easier to draw on the home computer than it is on that MacBook that I travel with. So we're in this trade at 350. So again, don't take this if you don't like it, but the low of the day is 345. So we have that below the low of the day at 344. And it's got to hold that, otherwise we're out. And 356 will be our first R up here, and then every 6 cents above that. So the next one's off the chart there. So you can still take it here if you're interested in this trade. All right, coin backing up a little bit. I don't really know who's buying it here. This is all short covering, and then same thing we saw, a little bit of short covering in VipShop. So this gets up to 218. You could, and you like this short, you can take it, but it need to get up to the 218 level before you can turn around and take that short. I do expect these to continue to sell off. Unfortunately, I'll be exiting coin here once I get off the air. And then I don't think I have any VipShop. I'll have to check in the book. So seeing some strength in the market, so that's nice. It wasn't just straight red. So again, our trade there is a couple cents from being out, but we're just going to let that cook as we go over and take a look at what's going on in the big world. TQLB up big, Target up after earnings 3%. Other than that, hardly anything up. Look at that, what, 4 or 5 names there. Gold is up, and then municipal bonds are up, and then corporate bonds are up as well. So really not much on the upside. Let's look at the red side. You have GBTC down 14%. FipShop 12%. Coin 11%. There's a CBD name down 5%. Tesla, Neo, DraftKings getting drug into this. The ARK Fund, Roblox, kind of all the favorite. There's MindMed at the 3%. Luckin down today after having a nice day yesterday. So really everything is turning around and flipping from yesterday. Let's go check out the VIX. All right, we busted out of our trade here. So this is a kill, -1R for the Mind Medicine trade. Get that drawn in there. I'm going to kill off coin here and look at the VIX and see if it's raging higher. I would imagine it is. So it's up 7%. Most of that was pre-market though. Now that we're seeing some strength out of the market, again, these two act opposite. So if the market continues to recover today, then the VIX will sell off. It won't be a good long story, but if this flips and starts breaking a new low, if kind of a triple bottom here around 406 in the SPY, if this goes and breaks a new low, then VIX is going to go higher. And then of course FipShop just selling off. Not much you can do with it over there. It's already down 11%. All right, let's see. We had one other name to look at, Riot. That was it. Riot short. Wow, it did not actually end up going short. Ended up flipping here. This is Riot blockchain, so it's one of those that is an alternative. That's one of these where this is the chart you're looking for to establish high of the day up here at a 23. Well, what happened to it? Riot. Gets established up here, high of the day up at 23. Then take it back to the short side around 22.50 with a 50-cent stop. Be the point you take it, and then $1.50 below that is all the way down here at 21. That's your 3R exit point. So that one is set up a little better. So if you think Bitcoin's going to continue to sell off, you could take that trade right now and just write it down. So 22 would be your first R, and then 21.50 would be your second R. But that's all entirely if Bitcoin keeps selling off, which we don't know if it will or not. So anyhow, it depends on whether you like that thesis or not. Okay, but the one trade we did take today, Mind Medicine, we're out of that and moving on. All right, let's go back to the topic of the day, or the question of the day, excuse me. Is SEP IRA. So have you pulled up here on Investopedia for SEP IRAs? Again, this is if you're out there, if you have a side business, whether it's your primary hustle or your side hustle, the IRS allows you to basically do your own 401k equivalent. This is actually an IRA, so it starts already under the IRA nomenclature. But like normal IRAs, if you're under 50, you only can put 6,000 in. With the SEP IRA, you can put up to it says technically 25%, but by the time you subtract out some things, I tell people just 20% is safe. And again, saving 20% income is pretty impressive. It's an employer sponsored plan, so it's kind of when it's just you, there's not much difference because you're both employer and employee, right? But as far as who's putting money in a SEP IRA, it is the employer money coming out of your business checking account going into the brokerage account with that money. So if you have employees and you have a SEP IRA, you have to pay all of them as the employer. So it's a little bit different. If you set up a 401k, a solo 401k, Now that's a program that allows the employees to put money in. So again, nothing is forced, but the employee can choose to put money into the 401k, and then you, the employer, can choose to match it if you want. Now, when you're all the same person, it just makes a difference where the money's coming from. So both have the same tax benefits. If you do a traditional, SEP IRA is the same as a traditional IRA. But if you use a 401k, as long as you're doing the traditional 401k, then you get the tax advantages up front. If you go right into a Roth 401k, then you're paying taxes now and you don't have to owe taxes later. So both of these are pretty good plans. So you certainly, when you get out there and run your own thing, whether again it's the main hustle or side hustle, you want to set this up as soon as you're profitable so you can start getting the tax advantages from it. Again, significantly higher. It's up to, we'll see if it's in here, but over 50,000. I think 57,000 is the max you can end up putting in. Who can participate? Well, you, the employers, you sign I think it's an IRS 5305 to set this up. It's just one form and you put on your criteria. The IRS will offer some criteria for you, but you can set your own, and whatever you set is fine. The money goes into a SEP IRA, and then when you're done putting into the SEP IRA, or say you switch to something else, you take that money, since all the rules are the same as a traditional IRA, you can take that money and roll it over into a traditional IRA or a rollover IRA, either one, because all the rules are the same. So you can combine the accounts later on and make the SEP IRA go away, if you will. All right, so here's the actual numbers. The lesser of 25% or $57,000. So again, it's going to 58,000 now that we're talking 2021 taxes. So again, $290,000. You'd have to be making that amount before you would be maxing out your SEP IRA. So again, most of these times you don't have to worry about that right away if you're bumping up against those numbers. Just make sure you're talking to a tax professional or a CFP like me before you actually commit to doing all that. Okay, that's all I've got for you for the SEP IRA today. Sorry the trade didn't work in MindMed there, and it looks like the market is starting to sell off again. So VIX long, VIX is up 10% now and screaming higher for anybody that's got VXX out there. All right, that's all I've got for today. We'll catch you guys back tomorrow morning. Bye.